lot of people have been arguing who deserves the title shot, right? If you're going to list all of the guys, don't mind him getting a title shot. However, if it's between Strickland and him, I would undoubtedly give it to Strickland. Alright, let's address the elephant in the room. Like, what's up with this outlet that's right behind me, always in the video? Guys, I know what you guys are looking at my eye. I know I wasn't in a bar fight. I don't owe anyone money. Don't want to get into specifics. Maybe I will if you guys ask me so. But let this just be proof that when you guys ask me in the comment section below, do I train? Do I train? Yes. As you can see, I do train. Accidents happen, but we're going to move on because we have some big news. Israel Adesanya, Dricus Du Plessis. Alright, we kind of knew for the past few months that these two were going to cross paths. Israel Adesanya obviously had a very intense beef with Dricus Du Plessis. They were going to fight back in September, and obviously Sean Strickland was able to fight instead of Dricus Du Plessis, and obviously we knew what happened there. Strickland beat Adesanya, and Du Plessis beat Sean Strickland, and now Du Plessis is the champion, calling for Israel Adesanya and saying, hey, he wants to finally settle the score here. And yeah, we haven't heard a lot of talk. I mean, Israel Adesanya made a few vague comments and did say, you know, in the beginning of the year, said, hey, I'm ready to come back. And as soon as they announced UFC 305 for Australia, I knew right away this is going to be the fight that we see Dricus Du Plessis and Israel Adesanya. Now, there's a lot I want to talk about the fight. I want to talk about if this matchup is fair. You know, a lot of people saying Sean Strickland should get the next title shot. Another thing, should this fight even be in Australia? Is the UFC getting lazy? And who do I think is going to win this match? I'm going to break down all of this and more, but first, I want to remind you guys to the subscribe button, like, comment, and share, because we're almost at 12K. You guys have been killing it with the support lately. If you guys could just hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, I'd very much appreciate it. But let's get into the fight. Like I said, Israel Adesanya last fought Sean Strickland, and if you guys recall, it was a complete shutout from Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland absolutely outclassed Israel Adesanya, beat him pretty much all 5 rounds, and it was definitely one of the biggest upsets that we've seen in recent years, just because of how dominant it was. Nobody expected this fight to even be close, let alone dominant for Strickland. And obviously time passed, and we saw Dricus Du Plessis get the next title shot, rightfully so, beat Sean Strickland by a razor close decision. I emphasize again, razor close, and we're gonna get into that now because I want to get into Sean Strickland. Now, a lot of people have been arguing who deserves the title shot, right? If you're gonna list all of the guys, in my opinion, if you have to give someone the title shot right now, I'd say it's Sean Strickland. At the end of the day, Sean Strickland did beat Adesanya, and he lost to Dricus Du Plessis by a razor close decision. I actually scored it for Sean Strickland. I don't remember the exact rounds. You guys can go click to my video where I talked about it, but I did score it for Strickland. That being said, it is 50-50. I'm not mad about Dricus Du Plessis winning the decision, just my opinion. That's how close it was. So I thought they should have ran it back. It was very close, and it was a fun fight too. It wasn't like it was a boring fight. And if there was another clear #1 contender, I would say, okay, it's fine. Give Sean Strickland another fight and let that clear contender get the title shot. But if we're talking about Israel Adesanya, a guy who just lost to Sean Strickland, none of this makes sense to me. If we're going to actually try to justify this, you can. Israel Adesanya's last fight was against Sean Strickland, who Sean Strickland beat dominantly. Sean Strickland's last fight was a loss to Dricus Du Plessis that was very close and could have gone either way, and even Dana White himself saying Sean Strickland won. So instead of giving that guy, Sean Strickland, a title shot, we're going to give the guy that Sean Strickland beat a title shot, who he beat dominantly. It just doesn't make sense. You can't justify it. If you're an Israel Adesanya fan, it's fine. You could say you're happy about it and everything like that, but you cannot say Israel Adesanya deserves it more than Sean Strickland. That is just ridiculous at this point. And obviously, we've seen Sean Strickland not happy about this. He went on Twitter actually saying he might quit MMA if he does not get a title shot, which I don't think he's doing himself any favors by saying this. However, I can see a scenario where maybe Israel Adesanya does beat Dricus Du Plessis, and maybe Adesanya does call out Strickland for a rematch. I mean, Strickland did absolutely violate him in that fight. I mean, he dominated him, talked all the shit in the build-up. I'd assume, knowing who Israel Adesanya is, I don't think he's going to let that one slide. I think he's going to want to get that one back. But you never know. He did hide from Alex Pereira after beating him that second time, so you don't know. And I will say, before I wrap up who deserves the title shot or not, I just want to say, I think Israel Adesanya, him getting a title shot, I'm not super mad about it, alright? Yes, do I think he deserves it? No, I don't think he deserves it. I kind of think this is a similar situation to Dustin Poirier and Islam Makhachev, where Dustin Poirier might get that title shot against Islam Makhachev. I don't think he deserves that at all. But what I'm trying to say is Dustin Poirier has accomplished so much in the sport, and he has not become the champion yet. And because there isn't a clear #1 contender right now, and I don't think that #1 contender is going to be ready for June. So if that is the case, I think you got to give it to Dustin Poirier. I mean, he's the only one healthy. He did post recently saying he's preparing for something, but I'm getting off topic. This is about Strickland and Adesanya. My point is that Israel Adesanya also has accomplished a lot in the middleweight division, and I don't mind him getting a title shot because at the end of the day, I do get that he was active. He was a very active champ, beat the who's who, and did clear that division pretty much. I mean, the only reason he fought Sean Strickland was because he cleared out the division and there was no one else higher ranked than Sean. So I do think that you got to give him his props there, and I don't mind him getting a title shot. However, if it's between Strickland and him, I would undoubtedly give it to Strickland. But let's talk about this. First things, before I break down this matchup, I am not happy about this location, guys. Now, first of all, Australia, I get it's close to New Zealand. You guys have to know they're not the same same thing, okay? The UFC has to learn this, right? Last time Israel Adesanya went to Australia, they were rooting for Strickland. This fight makes no sense taking place anywhere other than Africa somewhere. These guys are both African. It makes sense, especially with their rivalry being about Africa, being about who's technically more African and this and that. It would make all the sense in the world to have this in a big stadium in Africa. But the UFC is just lazy. There's no reason why they should not have this fight in Africa. They're the UFC. I don't want to hear it. I mean, what the fuck is going on? We have been hearing since 2020, we're going to Africa. We're going to Africa. They had 3 champions from Africa. They did not go to Africa. I don't know what they're doing back there. I guarantee you, at the end of this year, at the end of 2024, they're going to be like 2025, Africa's confirmed, because that's what we've heard for the past 4 years. I'm tired of this. I don't know if Africa will ever happen. I don't know what the holdup is. It isn't COVID anymore. They're just being lazy. And it makes absolutely all the sense in the world for this fight to happen in Africa, but they're not going to have it for whatever reason. I honestly don't know what it takes to get a fight done in a stadium or something like that, but I know the UFC has the resources to make it happen, so there's absolutely no excuse. But let's talk about the matchup. All right, Israel Adesanya, this fight might happen in August, and that is still a long time away. That would be almost a year out of the octagon, and we have not really seen Israel Adesanya after a long layoff. Now, it seems to be implied by Israel Adesanya and his team that the reason for the Sean Strickland loss was a lot of injuries leading up to fights, just building up over time because he was so active, because he was going from training camp to training camp to training camp. I don't think that's necessarily a good argument, however, because Sean Strickland did fight in July, a little over 2 months before he fought Adesanya. And Adesanya was off since April. That was about 5 months, right? And then even before that April fight, he fought in November. So he wasn't exactly the most active as he's ever been in his career. He is an active guy. He has been active in the past. But apparently it seems that he is getting some surgeries done here, or he's had some surgeries done. He's getting back into training, and he's doing things the right way, going into a title shot opportunity 100%. That's at least what I'm getting. But we've seen Dricus Du Plessis. I mean, he is young, he's strong, and I think that the grappling is definitely a big question mark in this matchup. Israel Adesanya, I think, has some good takedown defense. I think he's clearly a hard guy to keep down. We've seen Volkanovski also be hard to take down, and they train around the same camps. I know not exactly the same camp, but I think a lot of people are writing off Adesanya in this matchup. I don't know who I'm going to pick. I think Adesanya, though, has a really good chance of beating Dricus Du Plessis, simply because Dricus Du Plessis is very aggressive, and I find Israel Adesanya is not aggressive at all, but he is a good counter striker, right? And we've seen him knock down guys like Robert Whittaker when he was being aggressive. We've seen him hurt Kelvin Gastelum when he was being aggressive. Granted, Kelvin had a lot of success in that fight, but look at Paulo Costa. He was aggressive. He got caught. It seems to me when people are aggressive against Adesanya, sometimes they get countered. The only exception is Sean Strickland, where he was, yes, going forward, but I wouldn't say necessarily aggressive. He wasn't throwing a lot of volume, sticking to a jab, sticking behind a game plan, being very patient. Dricus Du Plessis is not that. He is not patient. I think he's going to try to go forward, try to get him against the cage, and I think he's going to try to take him down, keep wearing on him. And I'm curious to see who has the better cardio in this matchup, because yes, Dricus Du Plessis has had some cardio issues in the past, but it looked like in the Sean Strickland fight, he looked very good cardio-wise, and ever since he's had that nose surgery, not a lot of problems there. I think if we're talking about if this was a kickboxing battle, I think most people would agree Adesanya would win. Adesanya might throw the leg kick, stay at range, move around, good footwork, blah, blah, blah. But adding that takedown adds a lot, because that starts to open up shots. And I think if I'm Dricus Du Plessis, I'm starting to mix in the takedowns, you know, have a very good aggressive start, and get Adesanya questioning the takedown, get him questioning himself, shake the confidence of Adesanya. And to be honest, Adesanya's confidence is probably going to be at an all-time low. I mean, if you look at his last few fights, he lost to Alex Pereira, was losing the rematch to Alex Pereira up until he knocked him out, lost to Sean Strickland in an embarrassing fashion. Not embarrassing on my end, but I'm saying from his point of view, this guy humiliated you in the build-up and then absolutely destroyed you across 5 rounds, and then was screaming at your face at the end of that fight, including knocking you down. Yeah, the confidence from Adesanya, I'd assume, is not at an all-time high. And then I think another thing to consider is probably what's going through his head is, I mean, you look at Volkanovski, Kamaru Usman. These are guys that were champion around the same time of him, people that were in that era. Look at how they are turning out right now. They're all losing. I think if I'm Israel Adesanya, I'm wondering, is this my time? Am I almost done? So I think if I'm Adesanya, though, I think you got to pick them apart. Obviously, use the leg kick, keep at range. And I think I could see a scenario where Israel Adesanya can knock out Dricus Du Plessis if he leaves himself open. I mean, Dricus Du Plessis is the opposite of Israel Adesanya. He is going to go into this matchup with full confidence. And even if he wasn't, he's been doubted for most of his career, so he's probably used to that. Israel Adesanya, I don't know, man. I'm really curious about this fight. I think it's an interesting matchup. I am excited for the fight. Even though I think Adesanya doesn't deserve it, when it undoubtedly comes, I am going to be excited for it. But let me know in the comment section below, who do you guys think will win, Dricus Du Plessis or Israel Adesanya? Before we wrap up this video, though, I want to read some of the top comments on my last video. If you guys missed it, I was talking about Robert Whittaker and Khamzat Chimaev. They have announced that they are going to fight each other. So let's look at the top comments in that video. I do agree that this will be Khamzat's toughest opponent, but it's going to be tough for Robert as well. Yes, undoubtedly. And I did talk about a lot of my video about how hard it would be for Khamzat, blah, blah, blah. But there is absolutely a game plan for Khamzat Chimaev. If Khamzat Chimaev realizes, hey, this is a 5-round fight, I got to conserve my energy. If he mixes in the takedown, pressures Robert Whittaker, the other takedown is real. Robert Whittaker will be thinking about that the whole fight. So if Khamzat Chimaev takes advantage of that, and even in some of these rounds that are close, if he's going forward, landing his jab, and Robert Whittaker is being a little bit hesitant with what he throws because he's afraid of getting taken down, he could probably present a lot of problems for Robert Whittaker. However, if he fights how he's fought his last few fights, you know, going out in the first round, trying to get that first round finish, being that delusional, yeah, I think he's going to lose this fight, and I do think that Hamza will wind up losing this fight. Robert Whittaker is very high level, and his wrestling's high level. I think Robert Whittaker is going to be able to defend those takedowns, and I'm super excited for that main event. Jack for president. Guys, thank you so much for the endorsement. But I think I got 14 years left. But who knows, maybe in 14 years, we'll see where I'm at. Saudi Arabia doesn't seem to care if the event makes money. They have plenty of it. They want to put on the best events possible. No, I agree totally. I don't know how long this will last for, because you can't just keep chucking so much money at these people, trying to get these events done without making anything in return, right? Like Francis Ngannou, he's not bringing $20 million worth to Saudi Arabia. He's not bringing that much money, trust me. And same thing with the UFC. They're getting paid $20 million for this fight night. Is this worth $20 million? I don't think so. As I've said, this is a great fight night. It's definitely better than any of the fight nights we've gotten recently. However, I think it's on the same level as some of those UFC Orlando cards or that UFC Austin card that just happened. It's a really good fight night, and I think that's what it is. I don't think it's a $20 million fight night. I was surprised that there's no title fights on there. If I'm Saudi Arabia, I'd be pretty upset with the product that I'm getting. $20 million is a lot, and I'd expect at least one title fight. Even a Leon and Bilal, like something mid like that. Even if it was a title shot like that. But that's just my opinion, guys. Go make sure you guys click the video that I uploaded. That video came out a little while ago. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, like, comment, share, guys. You guys are killing it with the support, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit the link in the description to join the Discord, and I'll see you guys in the next one.